What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Angelo, and welcome to It's a Big One, podcast number 40, the big 4-0. And apologies for taking what it felt like a sabbatical there, but I had some sleeping problems for a couple nights, and then I got those resolved. Then I had a really bad headache for about a day and a half or 2 days. I don't know. Your boy's been fucked up a little bit. He doesn't know why. He feels pretty good now, though. I felt pretty good yesterday, too. But, yeah. So, we have a lot to cover. A lot to keep everybody updated on. I first off want to talk about two stories. Both of these stories brings a tear to my eye. One for good reasons, one for bad reasons. So let's cover the good one first. The first story I want to talk about is, drum roll please, Rush Limbaugh died. Yeah! That is the best news that I have received in the last 2 or 3 years. I like this more than the approval on my house. And I know some of you are saying, oh, it's in poor taste to mock the dead. And look, I'm actually quite jealous of people that mean it when they say something like that. And I'm even willing to say 9 out of 10 times I agree with you. I really try not to speak ill of the dead. What's the point? They're dead. However, every now and then there comes a certain special kind of asshole that his or her legacy really is of divisiveness, violence, just downright no good tomfoolery, you know? And I feel like those people deserve ridicule and mocking and celebration that they died. And yeah, I understand how people could say, but even that's poor taste, and I begrudge you that, sure. I'm happy that you feel that way. However, go fuck yourselves. I'm gonna go to Rush Limbaugh's grave and dance on that motherfucker. I really can't think of anyone outside of maybe Newt Gingrich or Pat Buchanan that is responsible for the last, I would say, 4 decades of divisiveness related to conservative radio, conservative television, such as Fox News, which get to the rise of a liberal version of that with the MSNBCs. There really wasn't, up until Rush Limbaugh, a voice that had such evil and rancor and mocking of people that died. Let's not forget, Rush Limbaugh mocked those who died from AIDS and played a song every time he read a higher death count. So, again, not only am I going to dance on his grave, I may take a shit on it and then spell my name out on it. Angelo was here. So, when you devote your entire life, for the most part, your entire life, to the divisiveness and the just upheaval of your own country, and you spread such vile hate and racism and sexism, I mean, just all you gotta do is look up Rush Limbaugh's Wikipedia if you're in the mood for some torture, and just read quickly about a quick synopsis about how he feels about any subject. And even before you read his opinion, you're probably thinking, I think I know what he's going to say about it. I kid you not, you probably don't. And his legacy really is the current Republican Party, dare I say current politics. It's not just the Republican Party. That's where his impact was most felt, obviously. Not only was it felt, but it was embraced and encouraged. I do not think we would have Donald Trump if it wasn't for Rush Limbaugh. Nor do I think we would have had the direction of the Republican Party since the 80s if not for people like Rush Limbaugh, but predominantly Rush Limbaugh. It's the evangelical, religious embracing of him that has always stunned me, and one of the many reasons why I left that cult behind is any person that tells me they're a Christian and then listens to Rush Limbaugh, I don't know who your God is, but it was never my God, even when I believed there was a God. Your God must be the worst kind of deity possible. Just a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, doesn't sound like a Nazi, sure. So I do not think it's in poor taste to celebrate someone's death when that individual is someone like a Rush Limbaugh. So, yeah, fuck him. Fuck him. He should have died decades ago. Another reason why I don't believe in God is people like Rush Limbaugh continue to exist while good people die so young and innocent, whereas the mouth of vile hate itself was left to suck in oxygen until 2021. And to top it all off, he does have the Presidential Medal of Freedom or whatever, Medal of Honor, whatever that bullshit. It doesn't mean anything at this point. It's just a fucking, it's higher up than a Boy Scouts badge, unless the Boy Scouts actually had to do something. I'm not going to tell you what, but ask those Catholic kids what they had to do for that. But molestation jokes, baby! I forget where I was going with this, but fuck Rush Limbaugh, I'm glad he died. The other story that brings a tear to my eye for another reason is the retirement of one of my favorite bands of the last 20 years, Daft Punk. Oh, God! I love you, you French bastards. I cannot tell you how much their music has meant to me. On a personal note, the last 2 albums specifically, that's when I got into them. I really didn't know much about Daft Punk until, I would say, until college, maybe? That's when I started to get into a little bit of dance electronic music, and of course, they're such an integral pieces of that music genre, so. But I will say, Human After All and Random Access Memories are bangers. If I had to rank my personal favorite top 100 albums, those 2 bangers would be in there. So, yeah, I was surprised how sad that news got me. Oh, how did I forget Tron Legacy? That was another great soundtrack. You know what? People shit on that movie. Deservedly so. It's not that good of a movie. But that soundtrack is dank. So really, they're the 3 albums. Oh, and then their live album. Shit, I forgot about that one too. So, there's been multiple Daft Punk albums that mean a lot to me, And even their first 2 albums that I got into later have some classics on it. So I'm going to miss them. I hope that they still do something in music, either produce or maybe do their own thing, one-on-one. Daft does this thing and Punk does the other. I don't know. But I am going to miss that group. But what was their first album called again? Homework, that's right. When was this? When was this really? 97. Well, no wonder I didn't get into it. I was 11 years old. I wasn't listening to that shit. But that does have some good songs on there. My favorite on this one is Defunct and Revolution 909. And of course, the all-time classic, Around the World, which that music video is still awesome. And their next one was Discovery. That's when I first heard of them, but I didn't actually listen to their music. Of course, I heard that Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger song and Digital Love and One More Time. And then as I got into being a fan of theirs, I like Something About Us, Voyager, Face to Face, Too Long. I mean, this is a good album. But the one that did it for me originally, that got me into the band, was Human After All. And I don't even remember why. Maybe one of my roommates was playing it. I don't remember. And when he told me who it was, I'm like, Daft Punk, I know that band. Isn't that like Euro trash dance band, And they said, absolutely not. At that point in my life, I compared any dance music that was coming from anywhere outside of America to be like that Eiffel 65 band. And that band who sang, Come on Barbie, let's go party. Oh, 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 yeah. Whatever that band was. I put all of them into those 2. And, typical American. Just assumed anything outside America was trash, or else why wouldn't I have heard about it? But that one's got some bangers. The title track, Human After All, Robot Rock, one of my favorites, and of course Technologic. I love that shit on repeat. But their big banger to me, which solidified them as being, all time, they're my top 50. Probably closer to the bottom. but that's big. It's hard to crack the top 50 with your boy Angelo. So, but Random Access Memories, track after track after track, banger after banger after banger. And if you think otherwise, you just don't have taste in music. I'm sorry. My taste is better than yours. It's almost like if you talk to a wine enthusiast and they can describe every little note on the wine. And then there's you, a classless buffoon, has a sip of wine and thinks, oh, that tastes good on my taste buds. No. You deserve a little bit of ridicule, a little bit of shame. You should try to do better with your life. So, for those of you that have a working brain, yes, Random Access Memories, damn near perfect album. I only say near perfect because is anything ever really perfect? But, give life back to music. Instant Crush. Lose Yourself to Dance was such a great top, but didn't that song get to definitely top 20. Did it be number 1? I gotta look that shit up. Get Lucky, another fucking banger. And then Doing It Right, such a fucking awesome song. But the one that I've been listening to ever since I heard of the Daft Punk retiring is Touch. Not one of their bigger songs. I don't think it even gets a lot of playback. However, they played that song on their retirement announcement video. And I heard that song, and now it has a whole new meaning to me because of the video. So I've been listening to that song probably 3 times a day, because I'm a glutton. If I like something, I will just overdo it until I hate it. Hopefully that doesn't happen with this song. So if you're a Daft Punk fan and you are also somewhat saddened by their retirement, I would listen to the song Touch. It's got Paul Williams Jr. on the track as well. A hauntingly beautiful voice. I didn't like it initially. I thought it was out of place, but now that I'm a little wiser and I saw the retirement video, I'm like, you know what? That song wasn't so bad. So you know what? You may call me a flip-flop, but I think that's what life is growing. If you can't grow, if you can't admit you were wrong about something, you might as well put your head underneath the tire right now and just have it back over you. Because there's no point in you being around here if you're not going to change your mind when information shows itself. So, getting off my soapbox there. Check out Touch by Daft Punk. And find out where Rush Limbaugh is buried. And let's all plan a trip to dance and shit and piss on his grave. But I think we can all agree. Let's move on. Kind of big news in my life is that I started going to physical therapy. Now calm down. I'm fine. Nothing is broken. Nothing is wrong with me. I'm not incurable, even though I have some ex-girlfriends that would say otherwise. No, what happened is for the past 8 months or so, right underneath my left knee and to the left, every now and then I'd get like this minor burning sensation during or after a workout. And even sometimes if I'm just, laying in bed, for example. But it was never anything debilitating. Like, it didn't knock me out. It wasn't excruciating. It was more of a very short-term, minor sensation. And it would go away. It never stopped me from exercising or living my life at all in any way. But it was something that I wanted to keep an eye on, because why is my left knee burning for no reason? And I tried to diagnose what I was doing whenever it would happen, but it was just a myriad of things, and I really had no idea what it was. So last year I went to my doctor, and just for physical blood work, all that cool shit, all that cool jazz. And I told her in passing that I have this probably minor issue in my knee. And I described it to her. She said, well, it could be something, but tell you what, why don't you just get like some Ben Gay or some shit on there and see what happens? And I never did that because it just wasn't that big of a deal. And it wasn't, the pain wasn't at the point where I needed immediate action. And sometimes I wouldn't feel that pain for a couple days or a couple weeks. And then some days I would feel it 3 or 4 times in a day. So who knows? But it lingered. So I was at the doctor's office sometime in January, And I finally said, I probably do need to have something done to my knee. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm kind of sick of it because now it's starting to just randomly affect me if I'm trying to sleep. And she said, well, I can give you a referral next door to the physical therapist. And to me, a physical therapy is for people who have a injury. But that's all I know. And she said, no, it's more than that. So she wrote me the referral. It was literally next door to my doctor. So I went across the street, made the appointment, and I've now gone 3 times. And I tell you, for thinking I knew what the fuck I was doing in terms of like stretching, in terms of squats, running, jumping, just very minor common sense things. Well, shit, it turns out I'm doing all that shit wrong. And sure enough, on the first visit was a consultation and some minor stretching of the area in question. They determined, rightly so, very quickly that it had nothing to do with my leg whatsoever, whereas it in fact had everything to do with my lower back, which makes sense. Most people in my family have lower back issues. I've had, not numerous, but maybe a handful of times in my life where my lower back, something did happen and I could not walk. I couldn't sit up. I couldn't even crawl. I was that out of it for a couple hours. But I never had like a major injury or anything. It's just, it is what it is, I thought. My father has many scars on his lower back from his multiple surgeries. So I just thought, that's my future. But I wanted to kind of get a head start on it and tried stretching and tried exercising more in my life, just as a whole. And my lower back has not really been an issue for a couple years, but every now and then it does get tight and I stretch it out with many things that I have around the house. The consultation, they were kind of poking and prodding in this lower back section right above my ass, which I was later told it is the L5 dermatome. Now, what is a dermatome? I'm not a fucking doctor, but here's what I can explain to you. Your body is broken up by nerves, and those nerves are all over your body and are connected across your body on like rubber bands. And so when you stretch or pull a muscle or, again, I feel like I am butchering this example. But anyway, your body's broken up into sections and they're all connected. So what you do in your lower back affects your lower knee. And that section is called an L5. So my L5, which is right above my ass, and it goes all the way around your leg, and it stops right above your feet. I'm looking at the dermatome diagram here, and where the fuck does that L5 end? Oh shit, no, it goes to your feet. It goes, I see. Man, this thing is fucking wild. It looks like a superhero outfit, how they have this dermatome thing diagrammed here. But yeah, so the L5 is above your ass, and it goes all the way around your sides, and then it goes right above your knee. It kind of goes through your shin and continues all the way down to your feet. Now, your outside side of your feet, that's something else. That's your L. The fuck? Oh, that's an S? That's an S1. I don't know about these S's. All I could talk about is the L's. I think L means lumbar, but again, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't have the degree in sports medicine or physical therapy or what the fuck. But anyway, so the last 2 times I've been there outside the consultation has been just a workout. And holy shit, today I had my 3rd one and I got my ass rocked there. I mean, I was sweating like a motherfucker, and wearing the mask does not help. And I tried buying a sporty mask, but it doesn't fucking matter. And just doing standard squats, I realized, damn, I've been doing squats wrong. Not completely wrong. Not wrong that's why my knee hurts, but just, sometimes my back bends, sometimes my knees aren't straight, sometimes they're too straight. You get lazy. And there's sometimes I'm just stretching, and the physical therapist is saying, hey, Angelo, just relax. And I'm like, I am relaxed. And he's like, no, you're all tense. I'm like, I don't feel tense. Then he, hits on my body where I'm tense. And I'm like, holy shit, I am tense. And shit, even learning how to relax your body, I didn't think was something I had to work on. Like, I always focused on the breathing, I always focus on am I doing the workout correctly? Am I feeling pain where I want to feel pain? Or am I feeling the stretch where I want to feel the stretch? That I wasn't really focusing on the other parts of my body sometimes, and they were fucking rigid. So, yeah, I have a couple more sessions. I'm excited about it. I think this is a good thing. Ever since they've given me daily workouts to do at the house, I've been doing them. And my knee did hurt a little bit yesterday, but I think that was more from the workout. But I haven't really felt the pain at all since doing this. I actually feel like on top of my usual workouts, these additional ones are working out areas that I wouldn't otherwise have worked out. Like I'm doing something called I don't have the fucking diagram. Like the supine sit. I don't know what the fuck it's called, but basically it's like a yoga pose. You're on your belly with your legs flat and relaxed, and you kind of use your hands that are at your shoulder length, and you push up. But you keep your crotch and your I think it's called your trunk. That's why they call it. No, your trunk is. Man, I don't know. They keep calling things trunks. When I think of a trunk, I think of an elephant or a penis. I can't help it. But you want to keep your hips and your crotch and your legs flat and relaxed on the ground, and you sit up until your back is arched, and you just want to breathe in as you go up and hold it and breathe out and you go down. Just doing that, I didn't think would work out my arms at all because I do push-ups all the time. But doing 30 of those, damn, my whole arm starts to scream. And I asked the physical therapist, should that happen? He said, oh yeah, that's fine. Now the physical therapy guy is great. He's also a personal trainer at a gym. And that gym is high class fancy. He was telling me of these athletes that he didn't tell me by name, he's professional. But, he helps NFL players, other athletes, but it's not just NFL players. But, he's a pretty cool guy. So I'm pretty excited about this physical therapy. I didn't think I needed physical therapy, but I'm sure happy I did because, it's not just a stretching and the strengthening of certain areas of your body. It's also health and nutrition. It's also a little bit of psychiatry. So like they want to know a little bit about you. What do you do? What are you comfortable with? So you get to talk a little bit about yourself, which, I love doing. So I recommend it to anyone who kind of has a nagging injury. It doesn't even have to be an injury. I mean, my knee's not injured. It was just a nagging pain that would come up every now and then, but it never stopped. It was always kind of there. If you got one of those and you have insurance, I mean, I have decent insurance. That's why I'm lucky enough that I could do things like this. Fucking try it. Who the fuck cares? Yeah. And I thought it could even be a little bit of a ripoff, kind of like chiropractics. But I say that because I've never been to a chiropractor, and I've just always been told that they're kind of shisty people. So who knows? I could just be talking shit. Wouldn't be the first time, but I'm loving physical therapy. I recommend it. If you think that it's a bit dramatic to go to physical therapy just for a minor knee issue, well, look, it turned out it wasn't my knee. It turned out it was my lower back. So I've been looking up all these different stretches and workouts for my legs and knees, not really addressing the problem, which was my lower back. See, your boy learned something. It's not just for people that got injured or have like debilitating issues. This really is just, to bettering yourself, bettering your health. I mean, what's wrong with that? But let's move on to something a little bit more fun. I highly, highly, highly recommend Derek DelGaudio's In and of Itself. I know that's a mouthful, so you don't even need to worry about the guy's name. If you just search for In and of Itself on Hulu, you will see a masterpiece of conceptual art. I don't even know how to describe this. It is a performance, but it's not like I don't know how, it's almost like a Broadway show, but it's a one-man show, and it does have technically magic tricks, but they're not magic tricks. I don't know, like what he does, calling them magic tricks, just kind of seems lowbrow. It's honestly breathtaking. I've never seen anything like this before. No performance ever. And I gotta be honest, the last half hour or so, I had tears streaming down my face. Not out of sadness, not even out of like happiness, but just kind of awe. just kind of, it's almost you were witnessing, I don't want to say anything stupid like a miracle, but damn near close, I guess. I don't know. Like, it didn't feel as cheap as, pull a motherfucking rabbit out of their hat or something. That's, oh, how did he do that? And then you move on to the next one. But not this. This was like a lasting, impressionable performance. I've recommended it to everybody. And the few that have watched it and that I've talked to feel somewhat the same way as I do. They may describe it differently, and I think that's the point. I've not heard this performance be described the same way, but the emotions behind each description are the same. It is of amazement and beauty, in a sense, I guess. Well, maybe I'm being a little dramatic. I think it's a beautiful piece of art, actually, so I cannot recommend it enough. But do yourself a favor and follow the instructions that they tell you in the beginning of the movie. They say, please, silence your cell phones and, don't look at them during the performance. And I would urge you to do the same. That way you don't miss anything, because this is the kind of movie that you actually have to watch everything and take it all in. I don't think you'd quite grasp 100% of what this performance is all about, to me at least, unless you give it your undivided attention. So, but yeah, update from the last podcast when I was discussing my lack of fetishes, or not knowing what my fetishes are, or my kinks, if you will. And maybe I am just a boring lover. Obviously, I was joking about that. I think I do quite good. Well, maybe quite well. I don't want to say quite good. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say my sexual prowess is, if you put it all together, the before and the after, I would say I'm in the low 7s. Like, I'm a 7.1. On my best performances, maybe I'm a 7.3. My worst performances, I quite honestly could be a 5 or a 4. Use your own imagination what those numbers entail. But what the fuck was I talking about? Oh, so I had an ex-girlfriend reach out to me. She was joking, saying you're not a bad lover, and then she gave me some shit about the kinks. She joked that I was into feet, and I was like, really? Did I do something? Like, I couldn't remember. She said, no, I'm messing with you. But I've done a lot of thinking about the subject, and I've realized I never really considered them that, but I guess I do kind of have. I always consider them a thing, and that was, calling it a thing was good enough for me. But I think I now realize I don't like saying the word fetish for this, because fetish sounds so grown up and like at a level of sexuality that I don't think this term deserves, but whatever. So I'm just going to keep calling it a thing, but you may call it a fetish or a kink, but those words mean stronger definitions, I guess, than what I'm describing. Maybe I'm an old man, maybe I'm conservative, I'm not sure. But all I'm trying to say is I do have a thing for certain kinds of women, and that goes Japanese women, and then kind of all Asian women, black women, and then everybody else. I've thought a lot about this. And I never quite understood why I kind of have a preference for Asian and black women over any other kind of woman. But now I think I do. Because I was listening to some podcasts, and then I was reading up some stuff online about early events or experiences can shape who you are in certain areas. And this is the same for your sexual kinks, fetishes, your proclivities, it defines early on what awoke that feeling and those emotions in you. And I never really thought of it like that. So I really had to think back of what was that first feeling of sexualness that I felt. And I remember throughout my childhood, I saw so many Godzilla movies from like age 4, and I still fucking love Godzilla movies. HBO Max has some of the classics from the 60s and 50s. I'm watching all that shit. I don't give a fuck. I love Godzilla. He raised me better than most of my parents, you know what I'm saying? But because I saw so many of these movies at such a young developmental age, I would always see Asian women always being not so much helpless, because that there was the difference between Japanese cinema with Godzilla films and say American cinema from the same time. The women were a little bit more strong, surprisingly, in Japanese films, at least the ones that I saw. And I'm talking the same kinds of movies. I guess I should clarify that. I'm not talking overarching film industry. I'm talking specifically movies like Godzilla that were getting made in America. You know, don't forget, America had that atomic age of films from the really to the end of World War II throughout the 60s, which is, you know, aliens coming to Earth, or monsters from the deep, or, you know, insects being blown up to be the size of buildings because of radiation. They call it the atomic age of film because everything had to do around science, the space, you know, atomic energy, because of the A bombs that just were dropped, you know, earlier in World War II. So that's what my point. Those kinds of films, women were rarely seen as anything that just needed to be saved, you know, or just were, you know, annoyances. Whereas in a lot of these Godzilla movies, not to say those cliche stereotypes weren't prevalent, but they weren't as common. You would see women scientists and men scientists of equal stature, and they were held equally in a lot of different ways. And that could have to be the Japanese culture versus the American culture at the time, but I digress. The point being, I saw a lot of hot Japanese women in these Godzilla movies, a lot of cleavage, a lot of legs, hot. And I think that's kind of where it started, because then I started watching more and more Japanese cinema, such as Gamera, the fucking turtle. That was fucking awesome. And, you know, there's a bunch more. So I think that's what did it for my proclivity for Asian women, specifically Japanese ones. And switching to black women, that one came a little bit later in my life, and I think I know where it started, but I'm not proud of it, but at least I'm realistic about it. Growing up, I was honestly scared of black women, and I blame the television and the news and just the media, and a little bit of my parenting. But honestly, I wasn't around black women or black girls really at all. And the ones that I were around were from my Christian school, and I really didn't see them outside of school. And when I would go home and watch TV, I would only see black girls in like music videos, and if it was a rap song, you know, it wasn't the best representation. That's all I'm saying. And I remember, like most 90s kids, watching daytime TV. It was predominantly black women on these court TV shows or Jerry Seinfeld type shows. And now that I'm a little bit older, I can see how, you know, the show's pride on that stereotypes for reasonings that it's based predominantly on racism, but whatever, I digress. But they keep it more on the personal level. So I was always kind of wary or scared of black girls because you know, that's kind of what was shown to me in my lack of experience around them. My first real experience with black girls my age was when I got suspended from my Christian school and I went to public school for the first time in my life. There was a lot of black girls there. The locker that was above mine was owned by a very popular black girl in my grade. There was a group of like 6 that would congregate around the locker because that's what kids do. But, you know, my locker's right beneath one of the most popular girls' locker, and whenever I would try to get on my locker, they would always make me feel like such an asshole for, like, walking through their circle or making the move or, like, whatever. If I was waiting for them to finish, they would call me a creep, and I'm like, I'm just trying to get in my locker, you know? And so, unfortunately, at that age, it kind of reaffirmed some of my biggest fears, you know? Loud, brash, asshole, all that stuff. But I realized it's all just, you know, kids being kids. And so once I kind of grew out of that and I got a little bit older and wiser, the thing that draws me to black women now is that they have a sense of awareness and a sense of comedic timing and a sense of, you know, having the ability to realize what's really important in like a conversation. Like, I don't know, like they have a better analyzation system. I don't know what I'm telling you. I'm kind of now attracted to what once scared me as a kid as well, if that makes any sense. There's things I picked up on later in life, certain characteristics that I see, not with all, but with some. And I like some of the loudness now. I didn't then, but I kind of like it now. And I like a girl to tell me what she's thinking and be able to back it up with some attitude. And I like that. It's very refreshing. And they always seem to have a sense of humor. I don't know. I feel like I'm sounding very patriarchal. Is that the word? I don't know. I feel like I sound like a chauvinist pig here, but I don't know. I'm just trying to be real with y'all. I'm trying to open up a little bit of my personal thinking, my personal thoughts and whatnot. I don't, oh shit, that's right. I didn't actually go over new fetishes. Jesus. But I completely forgot the other stuff. So let me go and pull that up here. Someone told me that whatever list I was looking at, which is what I feared while I was actually reading it out loud to y'all, was that a lot of that shit was out of, it wasn't right. It just, some of those things shouldn't have been ranked the way they are. So I didn't fucking know. I just found something online and I assumed it was correct. But, that's the thing about the internet, baby. Everyone's correct and everybody's wrong, according to whoever's looking at it. So I did find another list that is specifically related to COVID fetishes and kinks. And you're thinking, what the fuck? These are just the most searched fetishes and kinks during COVID. And I thought it was worth the read. So let's take a look and see. Maybe I got some of these, maybe. And number one, which is not something that I'm interested in whatsoever, virtual sex. I feel like that's the ending of civilization and humanity as we know it. That's what people want to do. If you want to get your jollies like that, that's cool, but I don't think that's what all I would do. I don't know how you would even involve someone else. It's just a heightened form of masturbation, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe I'm too conservative in the sexual department. I just don't get that. I do find it funny though when I am on a porn site, you always get those advertisements, and it always seems to be like pornographic video games, and a lot of them have famous characters from TV shows, video games, animated, of course. Doesn't get my juices flowing, so to speak. I saw one where you could fuck Marge Simpson. I'm like, who the fuck wants to have sex with Marge Simpson? I watch The Simpsons every Sunday for the first, 13 seasons of that shit show. Really, the first 10 arguably were the best. And I never thought, I want to fuck Marge Simpson. And I watched it at a young age where you are very impressionable, much like me with the Japanese films and Godzilla and whatnot. By the way, I don't want to fuck Godzilla, and I don't want to fuck Marge Simpson. I watch the same things during the same parts of my life, and I come out very different. So, not into it. I'm not into those apps. I'm not into virtual sex. I don't even know if I could play a virtual reality game, with the Oculus Rift or something, and it would be sexual toys that you could hook up to your body, and then you play it like a sex game. I don't think I could do that. I don't know. Jesus, maybe I am a Puritan. I had no fucking clue. Huh. Well, you live and you learn. Now let's see. The second one here is domination, submission. Okay, well, we've already discussed that one. Number 3 is orgasm control. Jesus, COVID really has made us have too much time on our hands. Who the hell wants to control the length of the... Well, okay, controlling the length of the orgasm? Orgasm control? I don't know what that means. Does it mean longevity in the orgasm? Or is it multiple orgasms? Orgasm control? Or is it you hold it in and then you do a magic trick with it or something? Or I don't know what it means. Orgasm control. Well, I don't think I'm into... I guess if the girl I'm with is let's try orgasm control. And I'd be like, I don't know, geez. And then she'd be like, well, it's actually for me. I'd be like, oh, okay. See, I think this is what I'm into. I think I'm actually into giving pleasure. I'm not against receiving pleasure, but I think my thing is making the other person feel good. Where's that? Is there an empathetic sex fetish? Let's see. Bondage. That's not it. Anal play. No. Age play. Gross. Foot fetish. I would try that one because it seems very funny to me. I don't know. I joke a lot about feet and stuff, but I've never tried it. I've never had a girl be like, "Do you want to, put your wiener between my feet like a weird cookie sandwich?" I'd be like, "Not really." I don't know. I'd have to really like the person to put myself in that predicament. Oh boy, what else we got here? Role play. Now that one makes more sense because last week I was talking about costumes and I was very confused, and then there was sports and I was very confused by that one as well. I'm like, so you dress up like a football player and the girl dresses up like a football player. That would be a girl, I guess. It could be two dudes or two girls. I don't know, man. To each your own. I just don't get that. But having it explained like role play, that makes more sense. I think I could get into role play if it was like comedic and stuff, like a sexy Sherlock Holmes, and then my girl is playing a damsel in distress, or like a fellow sleuth, and we have to figure out who done it and find something, and the only way we figure it out is to bang or something. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. I have no idea. I think it would be very funny though for me to dress up like Sherlock Holmes in a sexual way. Let's see Benedict Cumberbatch do that Sherlock Holmes. Let's see. Voyeurism. I think we talked about that one already. I'm not really into like watching people have sex in front of me. Strangely, it's okay for me to watch it on my phone or on my computer, but in person, no. No thanks. Sadism and masochism. We talked about that one. Golden shower is that high? Who the fuck wants to get pissed on? I mean, again, if your thing is to be shamed on, shaming. Some people do get off on that. Then I understand some of these, but I don't know. I can't imagine getting peed on and thinking this is the greatest thing ever. I'm just the whole time I'd be like, oh, this is gross. This stinks. This smells. It's gonna stain the mattress. I mean, I've peed on girls in the shower together, but it's more as a joke, But it was never anything sexual. And I've definitely peed in jacuzzis with people, but that's again nothing sexual. Although one time I was getting a hand job on a jacuzzi, and I thought about if I have to pee, I can just keep sitting here. I remember distinctly thinking as I'm getting a hand job in the jacuzzi from this girl that my first thought was, I guess it's good that I'm in the jacuzzi in case I have to pee. I mean, guys, I'm not a fucking Einstein here, you know what I'm saying? All right, one more, then we got to call it a day here, I think. Impact play. Gross. That means like getting your dick and vagina punched and shit and punted. Impact play. Who the fuck wants to get their privates punched? What the fuck? You just wear some fucking soccer cleats and go to town. Fucking slingshot. Oh my god! Imagine bending over on all fours and fucking slingshot and shit on your asshole. Oh my god. I'm not shaming any of these, by the way. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, hey, fuck you, asshole. I loved impact play. I'm not making fun of you. I think it's funny thinking of me in these situations. And I can't imagine any woman I'm with would like to do any of these things either. Not to say I wouldn't do some of these. And I'll be honest, there's very few things I've seen on these lists that I wouldn't at least try. Because, I'm down to clown. I don't give a fuck. I don't build walls. I tear down walls. You know what I'm saying? But it's just not something that I would introduce or something that gets my, what's that saying? Gets my rocks hard? Rocks hard? Is that? Man, I am an old fucking man. I'm using like old slang from the 40s. Oh, Christ. Okay, I think we can close this mofo up here before I get kicked off of YouTube. In closing, and I'm sorry that this is kind of ending on a sour note here, but the parliamentarian has just nixed the minimum wage hike in the latest coronavirus bill. God forbid people make $15 an hour as minimum wage. Oh, the humanity of people having money, poor people having slightly too much money. And you may think to yourself, what the hell is a Senate parliamentarian? I can't really tell you. I'm not an expert. All I know is it seems like one person on this budget council or whatnot. Senate parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough ruled Thursday that a plan to boost the minimum wage as part of a $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief bill doesn't comply with budget rules. What does this mean? Well, it means that the House Democrats will either need to strip the language of the bill before it passes Friday, tomorrow, or they'll need to muster 60 votes for it in the Senate, and that the Senate's they're not going to get 60 votes in the Senate. And you may think, well, I don't understand what you're saying, Angelo. All you need to know is Lindsey Graham is applauding this outcome. That's all you need to know. If Lindsey Graham is happy, whatever he's happy about, you need to get angry about. If he's happy, something awful just happened. Baby just got run over by a cement mixer. And Lindsey Graham is in the background just laughing and twiddling his thumbs. But, this ain't good. It's 2021. And what with the minimum wage is what? $7.75 or some bullshit? It's ridiculous. And I feel like everyone's forgetting that it's not like the $15 minimum wage would pass tomorrow or even within 6 months or a year. The language in this bill is saying $15 minimum wage within 5 fucking years. So you're not going to be probably getting a $15 minimum wage until 2025, 2026. What the fuck? It's like we live in a shithole Twilight Zone. And literally, within the same couple minutes of the minimum wage being basically thrown under the bus on this, Biden bombed Syria. So, within the same couple minutes, no minimum wage, and we bomb Syria. I just don't understand it. I thought we wanted to get back in the Iranian nuclear deal. And let me back up here. We bombed Iranian-backed militia in Syria. Not something that's going to go over good with Iran at a time when supposedly we're trying to get back in the Iran nuclear deal. So, I don't get it. I'm fairly certain that America bombing Iranian whatever in Syria is technically illegal. I'm pretty sure it's illegal by our own standards and by the international standards, but that's never stopped America before in the Middle East. Last thing I'll say before wrapping this up is fuck Neera Tanden. I am hoping very much so that she does not get the nomination to be the director of the Office of Management and Budget. That's a very important position within the administration. Should be working hand in hand with the budget committee that is headed by Bernie Sanders, whom she has been such a giant asshole towards. But I'm not a big fan of Neera Tanden. I think she is a Swamp Thing Clinton lackey. She's a union buster. She's against health care for all. She's against the minimum wage raise. She's made some really awful remarks about Libya, basically invading them, taking over and taking their oil to pay off our debt. She's very corrupt. She's taken money from the Arab Emirates. She's taken money from basically every big corporate interest. And there was a report where she basically backed it up but said it was being blown out of proportion, which is she accosted a reporter when that reporter asked Hillary Clinton about her vote for the Iraq war. And she punched him in the chest. She said she poked him. He says she punched him. It doesn't matter. Come on. That's not good. And, just her overall handling of the progressive and left wing of the Democratic Party. She is what she is. She's a Clinton Democrat. I'm not a fan of them. I rarely am, I should say. I should clarify. So, fuck her. I wish the administration fought as hard for her nomination as they did for the stimulus checks and the minimum wage hike. But, you got to pick who you think is going to win the race. But it looks like all three of them are losing. So, I love y'all. Please take it easy. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. That does not include the bedroom. If you want to, maybe you need to do things that I don't do in the bedroom, apparently. Because apparently I'm not living hard enough. I got to step up my game, baby. But on that happy note, I love y'all and take it easy. And I'll see you around the bend.